Welcome to part 12 of the series of writing our adventure game in 3 languages. This is the C# part of the sort of second iteration where we are adding a player class to the game. So I've written here the changes that are being made in this particular session. So we're introducing a shared debug flag allowing debug data to be displayed, writing the player class, and setting up the player by getting input from the user. So let me show you the shared class first. I don't think I actually added anything here. I think that was already in there, which you would have seen from the last time, but we just weren't making use of it. So nothing to actually add in there. The player class, let me show you that. So this is a static class because we only need one player, so we don't need to have a class that you want to make objects out of. That comes later on when we start doing items and locations and enemies and all that kind of stuff. So we've just got one player, so we've given this player a name, a health, strength, a single character. I've actually put an item in hand here, though I don't think I used that in the Python and Lua versions. So yeah, let me just for the moment cross that out, and if it doesn't run because there's some reference to it later on, we can fix that. But for the moment we don't need an item in hand. Okay, so we've got this list of characters, which is a list of strings, and we've got the inventory, which is another list of strings. So these are just the names of any items that the player might be holding. Then we've got this add to inventory, which has not yet been populated. Then we've got display inventory, which we've got some text in there. Then we've got display player, which is not doing anything at the moment. And then this get property method here, which is in use. And then we've got to remove from inventory, which has not yet been populated, and update stats. So those are the methods that you'll need in your player. I'm going to step through the whole game, so you'll get a chance to see these again and see them in action. So let's start with the program. Was there any changes in here? Yes. What I've done here is if shared debug is on, then we're checking using the keyboard class to see whether we want to disable the debug mode, and then if so, we're going to clear the console and then not allow any debug information to show, but I'm going to leave that on. Load game I think is much the same. So let's step through everything, starting with here. I think let's do it there. So we're going to hit start, and hopefully I haven't got any errors. No, we seem to be all right. So we've got this menu popping up saying the debug mode is on. Do you want to disable the debug mode? The answer to that is no. Of course, I hit the enter key. It reminds me that that's not good enough and that we want an N for no. So we can move that out the way while we actually look at here. So keyboard clear we looked at last time. So this clears the keyboard and returns a row number. So let me just step into that. It helps if you put it over this side. So F11, clear the console and return 0. Now we're going to the game load game. Now this is where we have made some changes. So we'll go into load game. Again, we're going to clear the console. Now we've got these player characters as a new list, and I've given them fighter, wizard, ninja and thief. So this is exactly the same as we did in the Python version. Let me just drag that across so that we've got a comparison to be made here. Where are we? Player. No, it's in the game. That's it. Right, so there it is. So we've got the Python version here, where we set the player characters to kind of a default set of fighter, wizard, ninja, thief. So that's exactly what we've done here in C#. List of characters, fighter, wizard, ninja, thief. So we've set the player characters up. Now the display intro we did last time, so I'm going to skip through that and we'll get to the modify player. So let me just hit the play button. So we get that little thing popping up and then it disappears again and leaves a blank console. So we're now in modify player. So let's step into that. So this is the modify player, which is the new thing that we've added inside. So we're actually inside the still in the game class, but this is the modify player, which is something new for the game class. So you need to add this one in. So I'll go through it fairly slowly so that you can copy stuff down if you don't want to download it from GitHub. So again, it's going to clear the keyboard. Sorry, clear the console by calling the keyboard one there. And then the narrator data, if I could just drop that down, we've got two messages in there. It says, I'm the Overlord and I will help you to find my lost treasure. And the second one is, I just need to get to know you before I let you in. So it's going to print out those two things on the screen, and then it will ask to get our name. So what I'll do is I'll put the stop one on there, hit the continue button, and that gives out the two messages. And now it's waiting to get the name in. So it's going to use the keyboard class to get a string. What is your name? True, meaning it's going to have a capitalized letter on the name. Minimum characters 2, maximum characters 20. So that will then print those out. So again, let me detach that. We'll press continue. And what is your name? So if I press enter, it doesn't want that. So we'll just press Fred, enter. There we go. Then we've got the narrator format message. Now I've showed this how it works on both the Python and Lua so far. So let's show you how it works in C#. It's the same principle. So we'll press F11. It helps if I press it on here, not on the console. So the message that we're passing is the first one of our list in the narrator, and the message is hello. It's a little bit small, I'm afraid. It's got an open curly bracket, player.name, closed curly bracket. You are the adventurer destined to find my lost treasure. I think it might be up here so you can see it a bit better. Yeah, here we go, look. So that's the message that we are currently trying to decode. So we want to substitute the player's name inside these curly brackets. So let's show you how it does that. So there's our message. So the first thing it does is to find the index of the first occurrence of that open curly bracket. So if we press F11, then that comes back with a number of 6. So if I go to the message, you can see the message starts with hello space curly bracket. So as with Python, this is the 6th character when you index it from 0. And so that's told us where that open curly bracket starts at. Ending has been given the value of 0, and then start is therefore greater than -1, so it's going to go through this loop. So F10 there. Now begin is going to give us a string, which is a substring of our entire message, starting at the beginning 0 and ending at start, which is 6. So that will give us the first 6 characters. So if I F11 that, so begin equals hello space. The ending is the index of in our message of the closed curly bracket, the first occurrence of that close, which I think is about 17, 18, 19, something like that. So ending is 18, so that's the 18th character. Then we're going to get a substring using the start and the ending variables here, so that we're going to get a substring from message starting at that position, start +1, which would be 8, and going as many characters as the ending minus start -1, and that will give us the property. So if I press F11, then the property is player.name. So that's what we're actually looking for, is the player.name. And we're going to get that from the player get property function. So we're going to be jumping now into the player class. So let's press F11. So we've jumped into the player class and we're using this get property. There's the property name, player.name. So the first one says if property name contains name, and obviously it does because it's player.name, so this one should return true, or return yes, that is, and it will return the actual player name, which is Fred. So if we press F11, does that contain name? Yes, it does. Therefore, return the player's name, which is Fred. Had it been asking for health, it would have returned 100. Strength would have returned 100. Character would have returned, at the moment, empty string because we haven't set it. So we're asking for the character's name, and we're going to return that. So we've now got the data from the property, which is the character's name, which is Fred. So if I press F11, then data should hold Fred. There we go. And then we're going to look again. We're going to make our message up from hello, Fred, and then the balance of the substring of the balance of the message, so that we're cutting out the last bit, so that our total message, when I press F11, is hello Fred, where the Fred has been substituted. You're the adventurer destined to find my lost treasure. So it kind of works like the built-in $string method here, but it's allowing us to extract it from a string, which means that when we load in our game from a text file at the end of it all, then we can actually extract that information from the text file in exactly the same way. Then it's going to look for start again by looking for the index of the open curly bracket, but because we've already removed all of them from our message, there aren't any. So that's going to give start as a -1. So if I press F11 again, so start is now -1, and so that loop will finish and it will return the message. So we're going to print that out, then we'll delay for a second, clear the keyboard. So let's press that one and let that one go. There we go. So it's gone in. Hello Fred, you're the adventurer destined to find my lost treasure. So it's done the message there, and now it's going to clear the keyboard and then move on. Let's press F11, clear, return 0, and then it's asking us, is the player character's count greater than 0, which it is. As you can see, it's 4, and there they all are: fighter, wizard, ninja, thief. And then we're going to our title is going to be the greeting from our narrator, and this greeting is hello player.name, you're the adventurer designed to find my lost treasure, and then let me know your character so you can be awarded your skills. So this is going to print out those next two lines. If I go down to that point and just let that run through, so it's now come up with the menu, let me know your character, by calling the keyboard menu thing here on line 109. So that's giving us the menu. I'm going to choose, again, if I press enter, as you know, that doesn't work. So we're just going to press number 2 for our wizard. Move that one back out. So the character we have chosen is choice 1, and of course our characters, of which there are 4, and 1 is wizard. So we have chosen wizard there. So if I press F11, our character is now set to wizard, and then we're going to update the player with those statistics by pressing F11. And so this is a way of modifying the health and strength of your player depending on what character they chose. So I'm just kind of doing it arbitrarily, that we're just going to choose the index that they chose, multiply it by 2. So of course it won't change it at all if they chose the first character. This is going to change it by just 1, so or 2 actually. So let's press F11. So health has now changed to 102 and strength to 102. It might have been, I think I did on the Python Allure version, I made one of them plus and one of them minus. It doesn't make a great deal of difference, but so you can change those around as you please. So let's go on from there. So we've updated the statistics. Now we're going to display the player, which is again a new one here. So I'll put that at that point there. So we've skipped the console clear one there. So it's saying, oh, I've skipped it too far by the looks of it. That's annoying. Was share debug true? That shouldn't have happened. Let me just replay that so that we can show you how the player display character is working. So first of all, let me just check that share debug is true. Yes, it is. I may have hit a keyboard a bit too rapidly at that point and made it go before it was meant to. So let's untick that. And let's go back to the game. Display player. Okay. Right, so we'll go to that point there and I'll just quickly run through it to get back to that point again. So we don't want to disable debug. There's our display. Bit of a pause in between. Then we put our name in. Then we choose our character. Okay, so it's stopped here. That's waiting for us to do the next bit. Share debug is, oh, it says it's false. Ah, that's why. It looks like I had a small error in the setting up of my choosing whether debug is working or not. So what I'll do, I'll just pause at that point. But it just kind of shows you really how useful it is to run through a program in this kind of stepping through mode, because I thought share debug was true. It apparently is false. So obviously I must have messed up, probably at the point where on main, let me just see if share debug is true. Do I want to disable it? I probably messed that up there. So I'm just going to pause for a second, check that out, and then show you what the result of that is. Right, found the problem. So it was a logic problem. Up here it says if share debug, which it is true when you first start. It says share debug equals keyboard get boolean. Debug mode is on. Do you want to disable debug mode? So when I replied, no, I don't want to disable it, what I should have done is to put share debug is not keyboard get boolean. So we can check that that's now running properly by running that through, and we'll see that that's coming out correctly. So start debug mode. Do you want to disable debug mode? No, I don't want to disable it. I want it on. And we now hopefully will get, if I just F11, oh, I can, yeah, F11 that, then user inputs, I think if we just can shift F11 to get out of that, then we process the inputs, and the user input is false. So, which is what we expect, because we put in no, we put in n. So obviously we've correctly gone through the thing here. F11. So share debug should now be true because it's not keyboard get Boolean. So that was a simple logic error. So I don't want to disable it, therefore I want debug to be true. Now we can let that run through until where we wanted to go through the displaying the player. So I just put thread in, we'll choose wizard, and here we go, shared debug is true now. So F11, we're going to clear the console and then display the player. So let's put that on display player. F11 to display the player. F11. Now I thought I had display player. Right, what I've done, I've actually put display inventory, should have been empty, and everything that's here should have been here. So I was probably rushing this late last night. So I shall now fix that. I'll leave this running so you can see how to fix things when you mess up seriously. So let's take that, Control X, put that in here, Control V, we'll put a stop sign in there, that can be left as it is, then we'll go back, save everything, and with a bit of luck press the start. No, we don't want to disable it. Come on, hurry up. Name. Right, okay, so it's now gone on to display player, F11, and sure enough, display player is now got some stuff in it. So here we go. So we're going to do first of all a string across the top, which is of this UTF-8 character that looks like an equal sign. So let me bring my console back there, and we can let that one run. So F11. There we go. So we've now got this line which runs right the way across the top of the console. So that's using this new string which consists of the UTF-8 character, which is why it's in single quotes, across the width of the window -1. If I did it the console width, which is 80, it would actually drop down and come out here, which is extremely annoying. I don't know why it does that. It's just kind of a minor bug in C#. If you make it the full console width, it doesn't stop here where you'd expect it. It drops down. But anyway, so you just have to make it console width -1. Then we're going to write the player properties and then another one of those. So let me just run those two lines again. So here we've got player properties, and then it's going to write characters available. Let's press F11 for that, and then it's going to do a for each. I'll just show you characters available. To go through each of the characters there, we've got 4 characters: fighter, wizard, ninja, thief, and we're going to kind of concatenate them together as a character with a comma and a space. So that will do that. Let me just press the F11 so it goes through each of those. There we go. And if I put that back in, you can see that our characters are available: fighter, wizard, ninja, thief. I haven't bothered to delete the last comma. It's not worth it on a debug screen. Then we're going to put the name, health, strength and character there. So if I press F11 on each of those and bring that back in to show you. There we go, name, health, strength and character. I've put them kind of neatly moved apart by formatting the strings here. Then we're going to go through the inventory, if there are any items in the inventory in a similar fashion. Let me just go back over to here, and then F11. The inventory is empty at the moment. Then it's going to put the bottom string in. Okay, so now there's a sign of how this kind of thing can get corrupted. That last line is actually too long, and it's not starting underneath. So that's a little minor problem that I need to fix. The reason for that is that I did a console.write here, which would have written in the final item in our inventory, and then I've done a write line, but I didn't put any kind of new line character in there, which would have stopped this from drawing straight on after the inventory. So just a very sort of minor cosmetic mistake there. So definitely to just put that lot in, and then write line, and then put a new line character in first. I can't do that while it's running, so obviously I'll do that later. Then we can F11 that and get out of here. So we've displayed the player. Then it's going to wait for us to enter to continue, and wait for us to press that. Then it will clear the keyboard. And then it's going to do the sort of messages in the narrator start, which is, I see you are a player character with player health, and player strength. So this is why I showed you how it does that format message with just one of those in there. Now we've got 3 of them, so it'll go through all of those. So what I'll do, I'll skip that and just make it go right down to that. There we go. So that did those 2 messages. Then it just sleeps for a couple of seconds. And then finally gives us our message. Oh, I pressed F11 on the wrong one, that's better. Here. And then returns true back to the load game. So our game has loaded in, then the rest of this runs as it did before. So that will just complete the running of the game. So let me hit the continue button on there, and the menu has gone. No, it's gone too far, but anyway, that would have closed it off as before, using the console write and read. So that shows you how to do this in C#. So I've just got a couple of minor things to correct. Then I will put this up onto the GitHub, so that you've got this one as well. Just a very quick update to the very last of that C# one. I was wondering why, when I was trying to demonstrate that, when I had finished displaying the player, it just kind of finished and shut down, whereas what I was expecting to happen if I go to the program main is that once it's written out its final message, it puts enter to quit, and then reads the line, and it just vanished. I've tracked it down to a very silly mistake, which I'll show you now, is in the game.cs. I've got here display the player, and then enter to continue, and I've got a console.read, not a console.read line. And because of that, it was taking any character and storing any characters that were not used. And so that kind of made the whole thing quit. So I just wanted to just point that out, as it has caught me before, so I knew why it was there. So only use console.read if you want to just read whatever character is typed in, whereas you use read line to specifically wait for the user to press enter. So that's why it jumped right through. So that's just a quick update. So hopefully now if I play it and I put debug node there, it does its stuff, gives you the message, wants to know what you want to do, what's your name, Fred. What gives me the choice, gives me the character stuff, enter, gives me that. And then, thank you for playing. Remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Now it's waiting for me to quit. But by doing that mistaken console.read instead of read line, it didn't allow this to happen. It just vanished and shut down, which was very annoying. So there you go. That's now working fully. So make sure you've got console.read line and not read anywhere that is waiting for you to pause. And I think that pretty much covers it. The only other minor change I made was on the main one here. I realized that the if load game here, I had put this console write and read line in here, but it really needs to go outside of this if statement so that whatever condition the game is in, it will not shut down fully until you give it permission to do so.